mother and father who never gave up on me, while others never bothered, the ones who pushed me to follow through with college and to appreciate little things minus all the dollars. My father had a fucked up ex, always getting screwed, making up stories in court alleging she was being abused. That's why we have something in common, but he refused to give up and told me life is what you choose. I remember as a kid always causing trouble, fighting steel line, always down for a rumble. Thought I had a grasp on life, but I fumbled. Now no one believes how I grew to be humble, but my parents knew it. I was just a trouble kid and they knew I'd get through it. Now I'm grown and leaving people clueless, cause my mother always saw my heart and how people chew to patch it back together and successfully grew it. Gotta thank my mom, gotta thank my dad for the life I have, for the life I had, for the good and the bad. Everything I've become is cause of you. A hug or two and show enough love for you. Gotta thank my mom, gotta thank my dad for the life I have, for the life I had, for the good and the bad. Everything I've become is cause of you. A hug or two and show enough love for you. Well, she told me life is problems and he told me how to be tough. He told me life can disappoint and how it can be rough. The problems can stack as if there's never enough, but he taught me to climb and to find my way above. He said, have faith in life even if you feel you're shoved. Even if the world turns its back, you always have us. Even when you're betrayed, we're always here to trust. Regrets and disappointments, but focus on those you love. Stand tall like a man, never be a runner. He told me stupid shit occurs only cause we're younger. That sin has an appetite for the weak and unsatisfied, hunger and above all else. Told me I'm a lover, but then he almost died. I remember I tried to be strong, but the girl at the time wasn't there like I hoped to plan. So alone in the mind, left me alone and blind. But my mother didn't stop till she'd find her son and combine our strength till everything would be fine. And together we prayed and he survived. Hey dad, I'd like to remind you are a gift for change and God gave you to me as a sign. Gotta thank my mom, gotta thank my dad for the life I have, for the life I had, for the good and the bad. Everything I've become is cause of you. A hug or two and show enough love for you. Gotta thank my mom, gotta thank my dad for the life I have, for the life I had, for the good and the bad. Everything I've become is cause of you. A hug or two and show enough love for you. So I left the woman I love, hardest decision I've ever made. I'd rather have been put in my grave, but we all knew it had to be done, and they were there every step of the way. God gave me the strength to be brave, and all I gotta say is I love you, Ma and Dad, cause my world turned its back, but you stayed, and all they said is the right one would come your way. One day and nothing will be the same. A woman minus the games, they helped me build my strength, but next thing I know, I'm in the hospital breathing out of a tank. I had a fucking tumor in my shoulder, but the pain was all the same. I felt it all collapsing like a tidal wave. But they told me to swim and they told me to float. If I could do neither, both would be there with the boat. I guess the song is for you, but the lyrics were wrote from my heart. Thanks for giving me this hope. And because of that hope, it gave me reason to breathe. For myself and happiness is something I'll achieve. And I met the woman of my dreams. We're not together right now, but it gave reason to believe. Despite being beaten and deceived, there are plenty of fish in the sea. And even when blind, they were the eyes for me. What a surprise for me that I made one hell of an entrance in life and isn't time to leave. Gotta thank my mom, gotta thank my dad for the life I have, for the life I had, for the good and the bad. Everything I've become is cause of you. A hug or two and show enough love for you. Gotta thank my mom, gotta thank my dad for the life I have, for the life I had, for the good and the bad. Everything I've become is cause of you. A hug or two and show enough love for you. Wouldn't show enough love for you, no. Mom and Dad, I'm moving to Chicago, but I still love you. God bless.